All we do is throw them back in the ocean to feed the crabs. It's pretty sad when you think about all the people that need good protein.
If the country keeps going like it's going, all of a sudden fishing and farming are going to become important again. They're going to be major providers of protein for this country.
They're plenty big enough, they're beautiful fish, plenty big enough to keep, but because we throw so many back, they gotta cut us back more because we're discarding so many. Now that doesn't make any sense because if they let us keep more, we wouldn't be discarding as many. We could make a living. But that's not the purpose of the National Marine Fisheries Service. They're trying to put us out of business or, shrink the fleet down.
It's controlling the purse and it's achieving the goal, which is to reduce the fleet from what was about 1,300 permits to about 450. That has been, the goal in the last couple of years, that we need to reduce the fleet, New England fleet, too many boats, and they need to be reduced.
It's going to be big conglomerates, and there might be a dozen of them on the East Coast for our area that will probably have 5 or 6 boats apiece that will be allowed to fish.
You might not see it, but it's true. It's being economically restructured by the cost of fuel, by the regulations.
Our accounts receivable in the last 5 years have basically tripled.
If you had given guys 500 pounds of fluke a week last year, my accounts receivable would be it'd be whittled in half at least.
Ice houses, settlement houses, boat manufacturers. So you think of the businesses that are associated with fishing. Once the infrastructure leaves, they don't come back. So you can really destroy a port very quickly if an industry like groundfish takes the hit that this is taking now.
The whole state is being affected. Not just people like me directly tied to the industry either. It's groceries and everything else. It's across the board.
You've got lots of small businesses that feed off of and contribute to the commercial fishing industry, whether it be welders or fuel or electronics. They're feeling the pinch that you're feeling the pinch right now, and it really is, there's a cascading effect.
If it wasn't so tragic because it's having such a tremendous economic impact on an awful lot of hardworking people, it would be ridiculous, but it's not. It's way worse than ridiculous because it's hurting a lot of people and it's not doing a lot of good for the fish.
What's that, about 300? We'll have a beautiful fish that's got to go overboard. 300-pound fish overboard. Nice job, National Marine Fisheries. Good job. We can just take these nice, big, beautiful fish, dead as a doornail, and just chuck them overboard because it makes someone in Salisbury, Maryland feel better. Nice job. You guys do good work. Just not much of it. That's the only problem. Clean as a whistle, that bag of squid right there, but we got to let that fish go. Nice job, you guys. Now nobody gets to eat it but the crabs. Belly up. That's pure waste, in case anyone was wondering. I hope that makes someone feel better someplace. It sure doesn't make us feel too good.
And this is not just a way just to make a living. This is a tradition. This is a way of life. This is a life in itself. It's communities. Like I said, a community like Gloucester doesn't have anything else. If this fishery really comes to its hand or its knee, this community will really shut down.
You know, once we lose a commercial dock, once we lose a chandlery, once we lose a gear shop, it's never coming back. The chances are 2 weeks after a waterfront business goes out of business, it's going to be a condominium.
Dockside facilities, shoreside facilities, the infrastructure's collapsing. When that infrastructure's gone, it's gone. It's never going to come back.
There won't be fishermen in Newport anymore, which was, you know, a thriving traditional fisheries port. I mean, there may be a few lobstermen left over there, but there'll be no fishermen over there. You know, we're already seeing how, and once that goes away, will you ever get that back? It's not, never. You know, there'll be condos pushed down to the beach. The same thing here, you'll have nothing but tourist shops and parking for the Block Island Ferry, you know.
Unless the National Marine Fisheries can you know, relieve some of the regulations or lessen them, as they should, because we all know that there's more fish around and the rebuilding program has been successful. I can't imagine it going away completely, but I don't see how it can help but go away completely.
Now we have all these fish that we cannot catch, and we're all going out of business. I just don't understand what it's going to take for people to understand what this situation is.
And I don't think America understands that. I don't think they understand that the guy who's standing at the mic talking about his fishery is an owner-operator, and he's one of 3,000 or 4,000 people on the East Coast who's being affected by all of these government regulations.
So here we have to throw all these beautiful fish back in the ocean. Talk about a waste. And this is supposed to be conservation. In a minute, you're going to see what we have to do every day. We're going to set this net, which is 2-inch twine, to catch some squid and butters. As you can see, we got more fluke this tow, which we can't have, that we have to return back to the ocean because we got a whopping 50 pounds. But look at all the other stuff we got too. Stuff we don't want to catch. This is what I call a bag of swill, a bag of depth. I mean, the butterfish are good, the squid are good, but a lot of the stuff we can't have. No fisherman wants to do this. That's why we went and made the tow with a 6-inch net, to show you what we want to be doing. We want to be catching fluke, everything that we can keep, and going in. Instead, the government forces us to have to do this to pay our boats, you know, and our mortgages and our houses, and keep food in our bellies like everybody else, gas in our cars. And we got to work in this crap. We don't want to do this. This is what we're forced to do. This is their idea of conservation. It's not my idea of conservation, but this is what the government and the National Marine Fisheries forces down our throat. I mean, you can see this. This is going to take me a long time to pick through this mess, and I'm wasting a lot of fish that I can't have. It's not something I want to do. It's either that or tie my boat up and lose it, so.
1996 come along and the reauthorization of Magnuson fueled a fire to provide environmental groups to sue over procedure. It had absolutely nothing to do, and this is mostly NEPA. It didn't make any damn difference how good you were doing building a fish stock up. If you missed one step along the way, you were sued. The agency was sued because they didn't meet that requirement. It had nothing to do with performance. It had to do with procedure. And that was the beginning of the end.
The public really has to question the focus of the environmental organizations, because the focus is to stop fishing.
They want to talk about saving the planet, but you know, they're just worried about themselves. If the fish have come back, why can't we catch them?
The fisheries in the Northeast have become the most regulated industry in the United States.